Welcome back to MFO, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on this Underwater Wednesday. Not really under the water today. We're in the pool for sure, but we're going to be talking about the Whopper Plopper. If you prefer the Berkeley, Choppo. If you're a musky guy, it's the Tallywhacker, right? The old Tallywhacker, big giant tail spinning kind of bait. But guys, we talked about this yesterday. We've talked about this all week. Baits for September. The top water that I'm going to be throwing a lot of is this Whopper Plopper type of bait. And there's specific reasons for it. And we're going to show you that when we get into the pool, when we get into today's episode of On the Water Wednesday. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher. So before we start talking about Whopper Ploppers, I do want to, there are a couple of things that I need to kind of make sure that you're aware of right off the bat. Number one, please pay attention to tomorrow's episode. We've got some really important channel news that's coming out in tomorrow's episode. So 5 o'clock tomorrow Central Time, make sure you're tuning in to get that news. That we've been preparing for this for the last couple of weeks, so we're really excited for you to learn more about this. Number two, if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. But guys, I'm really asking you for your support here. If you can, so many people watch these episodes, especially the Underwater Wednesday episodes, but you're not subscribers. So if you could hit that subscribe button for me, if you would hit a thumbs up, send in a comment, and the other thing is share this to somebody that you think might enjoy this type of content as well. I kind of need your help in growing the size of the channel, so I'm really going to ask for you to share this information with some people that you know would like this type of content. All right, so let's talk about the Whopper Plopper or the Choppo, whatever brand you're buying. But why are we throwing this bait in September? Well, I'm going to tell you that there's a couple of reasons that I'm specifically targeting this bait when I'm throwing a topwater. We talked yesterday about the fact that that water after the fall turnover has dispersed that oxygen throughout the entire body of water. It's no longer stratified up in the top 2/3 of the water column. So less water throughout the entire lake. The surface is going to have the greater amount of oxygen, obviously, because it's in contact with the air, especially if there's a breeze that's turning the top of that water column a little bit. So top waters just make sense in general. But when you're talking about different types of top waters, I want a top water that I can cover a lot of water, because like we said, these fish are spread out. So that's going to take like a popper, for example, and just put that's staying in the rod locker, that's staying in the compartment. It's not coming out. I want to be able to move that bait, that top water bait, quickly and cover a lot of water. So I've got your spook kind of walking baits, I've got a buzz bait, and I've got a Choppo. Well, I'm really looking at those fish that are going to be aggressively feeding. So I'm going to start with a Choppo. As I said yesterday, I might throw a buzz bait if there's grass on the top and things like that, to the point where my Choppo is constantly getting hung up with the treble hooks. But if I can, I'm going to throw that Choppo or that Whopper Plopper. As we get into the pool, what I want you to notice is not only what this bait looks like from underneath. We're going to show you two different sizes, what I consider to be the bigger bass size, which on the Choppo is a 105. That's what we're looking at here. And then a little bit later on, we'll show you the smaller 90 size. Okay, both have their place in this type of fishing. But one of the things that I want you to keep in mind is, number one, if you're fishing the bigger size, that is the bait that I'm going to use, especially if I'm up north. I'm going to be fishing that bait if there's more chop on the water, because that bigger bait is actually going to give me that movement, that action from the tail, and it's going to override any a little bit of ripple or chop that's on the surface of the water. This smaller bait that you're seeing is just not going to be able to be picked out as easily if there's already wind disturbance up on the surface of the lake. If it's a flat, calm day, that little bait, that little 90 from Berkeley, that may work just fine. So size is going to be based on where you are in the country. If I'm on, a lake like Gunnersville or something like that, I'm going to throw the bigger bait. I'm absolutely going to throw the 105. I might even move up to the next size. But in a northern lake where I am, I'm really looking at, is it either the 90 or the 105? And I want to throw the 105 if I'm trying to combat any kind of wave action on the lake itself. But again, keep in mind that wave action is good because it's oxygenating the surface of the water. So I want to be able to throw a top water and still have the fish be able to locate it. That's why I think that Choppo or the Whopper Plopper is the excellent choice to pick at this time of year. Now, as we move into looking at these baits again, but this time we're going to look at them from on top, from the surface. And it's not just a matter of watching these. I'm going to stop talking. I want you to hear these two baits as they run across the surface of the pool. Now listen to the smaller size bait. There's a very noticeable difference to the tone and to the vibration and to the sound that 90 gives off compared to the 105. If you had flat calm conditions and you were throwing the 90 and you weren't getting bit, I wouldn't be hesitant to turn around and throw the 105 for a while and see if that does the trick. There have been times when I have thrown one size or the other and really just haven't gotten bit, and I've gone and just switched to the different size, and that was the difference. That was the difference in catching fish and not even getting a whiff or any interest at all from the bass. So size is important. Keep in mind the reason why, and get out there and throw a Choppo or a Whopper Plopper, whatever you want to do it this September and catch some big bass on topwater action. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll see you again tomorrow on another episode of Mark Fisher Outdoors. Take care, everybody.